Creating a form through SwissMango is as simple as a couple settings that you have to put into play. But before we do so, let's take a look at a couple of examples. When we go to the IRSC Foundation page, we have a donation page that utilizes a form very effectively. A very thorough use of the form where they collect donor information. They select donation options where they have a drop-down list that they can choose where they want their money to go. They can also designate how much money they want to donate and how often they want it to donate, where you can have a one-time, a monthly reoccurring, a quarterly reoccurring, or a yearly reoccurring. You can enter in your billing information as well as choose whether or not they are an employee or if they prefer to be anonymous using the radio buttons. They also have a text box where they can enter in comments on how they want their name to appear. They can also choose the month, day for their birth and put in additional information such as their mailing address, which may be different from the billing, and also their seasonal address, which may be different as well. There's also this I want to subscribe to your newsletter, which is automatically placed into the bottom of every form that's created on your form block when it applies to your package. For example, whether or not you have a newsletter feature available with your SwissMango package. Also, on the Ambassador Pest Management Services website, they have a schedule service form where they can schedule their quality service. They have a drop-down as to what type of service they want to receive, as well as putting their information in, choosing what day is best for them, and designating how they heard about them, as well as providing a message. Again, that I want to subscribe to your newsletter is automatically put into play at the bottom of the form. So let's go back to SwissMango and actually add a form in. So we're going to put in our form block, and again we're going to put it on a page that does not have a spotlight column on the right hand side. We're going to give our block a title. We're going to designate who gets notified about somebody submitting a form. So usually this is a person within your organization that would like to know that someone has submitted a form. You can also CC someone as well as BCC someone. You can also put in a response, which is important as well, and this response goes to the person who had submitted their form. So you can thank them for submitting their form. This can be customized however you would like for it to be viewed. Now, when somebody submits their information via a form, they can also be added into a newsletter group for the e-newsletter to mail them at a later time. So you can choose which group they go into. For example, if we are creating a Contact Us form, we can say that they all go into the Contact Us form submitters newsletter group, so that we know that when we're sending out our e-newsletter and we want to follow up with the Contact Us group, we just select this group here. You can hit submit, and now we've created our form block. But now that we've created our form block, we need to add in some actual content for people to fill out. So we're going to do so by adding a field. When we click on Add Field, we have a number of different types available. A text field, a text box, a checkbox, multiple checkboxes, radio buttons, Dropdown Select, and a field set, which is also known as a divider. There are also special fields, which are your first and last name, email address, phone number, company, state, where all of the states are pre-populated in the drop-down, as well as a date picker where you get to choose from a calendar, and a time picker where you can designate the time utilizing a slider. There's also the date and time picker, which you can have both the date and time options available. For now, we're going to work with a text field. We can give that text field a title. If we want it free-form where somebody can type their information in, we would use a text field. We can designate the maximum amount of characters we would like to receive in that field, so that will restrict the the field to only allow so many characters. This is optional, not required, so you can just either leave it empty or designate a certain amount of characters. Now, the required option, yes or no, is whether or not the person submitting the form is required to enter that information in order for this form to go through. I'm going to leave this as a no, but later on we'll take a look at what it looks like when we want something required. So here's the How Did You Hear About Us field. Let's also take a look at adding in a text box. Quite often this is used for comments or a message. You can again restrict how many characters you would like to receive, and then you can make this required or not required. Another option is utilizing a different type of field, such as your checkbox. For example, you can say, I want to receive a free pen. And you can say the checked value would be free pen. This is how it would be perceived when you check back on your form at a later time after someone has submitted their information. You can designate whether or not this is required. I'm going to leave this as no and hit submit. So if they want to receive a free pen, they would just select that option. We can also add another field where there's multiple checkboxes. When we click on multiple checkboxes, we can give it a title that says, again, we can do it another way, how did you hear about us? We can designate that this may be required this time and hit submit. I'm reutilizing the How Did You Hear About Us to show the different ways in which you can put something together. So here's my asterisk indicating that this is a required field. I have my How Did You Hear About Us, but I do not have any checkboxes yet. That's because I need to add my checkboxes over here by managing my options. So now we can add them. We give it not only a title, but a value. So I'm going to say the title is website, and I'm going to put my value as website as well. I'm going to hit submit. And now I'm going to add another. I can say through Google, and then I can only put my value as Google as an option. I can designate whether or not this is initially selected and hit submit. Initially selected would mean that it was automatically checked already for the visitor. Let's take another look at another option. So they could have heard about you through print materials, and maybe you only want your value to just say print. Let's make this one as initially selected. You can continue to add as many options as you would like, but for now we're going to take a look at how those three items appear. So website, through Google, or print materials, and notice how print materials is already selected. I can turn that feature off if I would like, where none of them are selected and they would have to go through and select an option. Again, I would do this through managing my options, and I would adjust my print field option to say, no, I do not want this initially selected. I hit submit and I exit out of there. Let's go ahead and add another field. And this time we're going to utilize a radio button. I'm going to ask them, do they want to receive a free pen? This time I'm going to make it required, and I'm going to hit submit. And then now I need to give them options for those radio buttons. So I do so by managing my radio button options. The natural response would be yes or no. So I'm just going to title it yes, and I'm going to give it a value of yes. Again, I can choose whether or not something is initially selected. And then I can hit submit. Now let's take a look at adding another field where we're going to look at a drop-down select. Again, we're going to take a look at how did you hear about us. We're going to indicate that this is required, and we're going to hit submit. So now I don't have any options available, so I need to manage my options. So again, I'm going to say website, I'm going to choose this one as initially selected. If you choose no for all of the drop-downs, it'll choose the first one in line, but we'll choose this one, hit submit. Let's add another option. And we'll add one more option where we will say print materials. I'm going to exit out of this list and see how my drop-down field looks. Now I have my three options available. There's also another option which is called your field set, and this is what I like to call a divider. Let's title this Client Information. I'm going to hit submit. And there's my divider. Now what I need to do is I need to put this in order and move things around. So I'm going to go ahead in here and manage my field, and I'm going to say I want this in position 3. It's going to move it for me. So now it's in position 3, dividing this section of information away from the top part of information. Now there are other special fields as well, where you can put in a first name, last name, email address, phone number, company, state, date picker, time picker, and date and time picker. All straightforward and very similar to the same options that we have in our standard fields. So putting together a form is very easy. Just a couple clicks of a button deciding how you want your information to be displayed.